Yeah, that's better.
Episode 22.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We are here, episode 22. This is Coffee Talk with Nate and Julie. And Nate does not have coffee this time. Julie, potentially?
I
Oh,
do
you
not
have
have coffee. I have
No.
water.
So it's water talk with Nate and Julie. How you doing? Good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
And you
It
are...
always seems like way longer than a week.
It does, doesn't
What I
it?
mean, doesn't it? It feels like
Yeah.
months.
You send me a message and I'm like, oh, I mean, yeah, it feels like a long time ago. So yeah, it was even you just finished your facilitator training on Monday or Tuesday last week?
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yeah. So how was the facilitator training?
It was amazing. One of the things, and you know this too, like one of the things about access consciousness is it's always changing and always getting greater. So that class was way greater than any of the previous ones that I've had. And it's a similar energy of expanding your awareness, expanding your consciousness. But also it actually included more of commerce and how to create a business in this reality, but not of this reality. So
Okay.
it was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's become a large part of the support that Access wants to give facilitators is how to have classes and not just how to facilitate, because as we discussed before, the facilitation is, I almost hesitate to say the easiest part, but facilitation is showing up and being you and being in the question.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not necessarily easy.
sure. No, I
That
get
takes
it.
a lot of training.
It does. But I
It's the
think
fun part.
and the
It's
nuts
like
and bolts of, the business.
it's like in any business, like in my jewelry business, the making of the jewelry is the fun part, and also the helping customers find their piece.
Right.
But then there's all this background stuff of ordering products and inventory and accounting and marketing and all that. That's
Right.
not necessarily fun. However, applying these tools to it makes it a lot more fun. And actually, we were going to talk about something today, and I was implementing it over the last few. Well, I implemented a lot, the energy pulse.
Right.
But sometimes, like, you're pulling, and nothing's showing up.
Okay.
But when you sort of have to let go of the result. And on Saturday, it was the first time I had probably 15 or 20 people come into my shop, and it was within a short amount of hours.
That's awesome.
So it was like 2 people, and then 2 more people, and then two more people, and they were waiting at the door because it's not a big space, and people are being respectful. But
Right.
it was constant, and I even stayed open late, just just to help more and more people. And it's been super quiet because of COVID and people not wanting to go out and people not wanting to spend money and all the
Right.
reasons and justifications. But just choosing to continually pull in the people who are looking for what I do,
Right.
not just anybody, but people who actually desire it.
Yeah.
It was starting to show up. It was really cool.
So actually I wanted to ask you to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned the word commerce, and I know that the word commerce has been very prevalent over the last several weeks. And I know that Dane had a conversation with Steve Bowman and they talked about commerce. Can you kind of give a brief explanation of why they're using that word as opposed to just business?
Yes.
That would be great.
Well, business is busyness. And
Okay.
it's a distractor implant. As we know, it's one of the 24 distractor implants. It's like keeping you busy to make you feel like you're actually doing something and accomplishing something. But
Okay.
commerce is more about connecting with people
Okay.
and having more of a contribution and a flow rather than a doing. It's more of a being. So having conversations with people and um, just having conversations with literally anybody will allow your business to grow, even if it's not those people that supply your business, because it's more about you being a contribution in the world. Whereas business keeps you busy doing, so you feel like you're accomplishing something. Can you get the difference?
I kind of get that. Yeah. Um, okay. And what was that you said about talking to anybody and that being a contribution?
Yeah, well, remember when Gary has said, well, for years, he said, call 10 people a day, ask them how they're doing. Don't tell them anything about what you're doing. Just ask them, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? How's this person? How's that? Because that's creating connection and it's creating contribution. And contribution isn't something that just goes in one direction or to them and back to you. It goes in all directions. So by doing that, it creates, I don't know, the quantum entanglements or something for the
So I have a,
universe to contribute back to you through other people.
so I have a question about that. There are people that I could talk to that I just don't want to talk to because it's just so much drama all the time. And there's never any question. And I just know what it's going to be. I know what it's going to be every time I get together with them, which is why I don't want to get together with them anymore. You know?
Yep.
So 10 people a day, it just sounds like a
Right.
chore.
Yeah. Well, then don't do it.
Right? And then my business is not going to grow.
Well, there are people that you can call, make it short. Nobody said you had to listen to the trauma drama.
Right.
Um, but even like calling people that have done sessions with you or been in your classes or
Right.
you know anything,
Yeah.
anyone. And I'm actually also on the call team now in Access.
Okay.
So
Right.
I can call for Access. And we do that too. We just call people and say, how's it going? Do you have any questions? It's not about marketing anything or getting them to take anything else. It's
Right.
just connecting. And that contributes to Access, but it also contributes to me and my business,
Right.
which is kind of cool.
So the call team just calls. How do you pick who you call?
Oh, they have specific campaigns,
Okay.
people who just became a bars facilitator,
Okay.
or, you know, people who, I don't know, did the
Okay.
Global Foundation.
Okay. Right. Have you been calling quite a few people?
Um, I would say some, not a lot, because there's not that many English speaking for the amount of English callers.
Right.
And, it depends on the time that you can set aside to do it. There's a lot of other countries and a lot of other languages and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, but
Um,
it's been fun. And it's really funny because people are not used to somebody just calling and saying, "Hi, how's it going? We're here for you if you need anything."
Right. Yeah. I mean, personally, I I don't really like phone calls generally. So I'm like, yeah, just send me a message and we'll handle it.
I know it is weird, and like over the years, I've been in and out of the calling, and you know, even just old friends from college and stuff. And sometimes I leave messages and I just never hear back from them because they probably
Right.
don't like talking on the phone either.
Right.
But it's part of the society that's, it's creating distance and separation. What do they call it? Um, like the positive and negative. What is that? Polarity. Is this
Right.
polarity that's being created in the world through all the technology stuff? And it's a bummer.
Yeah.
So, if there are people that you like that you wouldn't mind touching base with,
I see. That makes sense.
it might contribute.
Um, okay. So yeah, you said we wanted to talk a little bit about energy pools, and I mean, this was kicked off because, well, I'm part of a lot of Indian WhatsApp groups, and there have been recently a lot of people advertising energy polls, regular energy polls about different topics and things like this. And then I clicked on your YouTube channel, and you have a video from like 3 or 4 years ago. And you mentioned that it was at a time where you were sort of, I guess, publishing or doing a video, energy poll on a very regular basis.
Hmm.
Um, so, you know, can you
Yeah,
explain a little bit about energy polls and how you use them, or how often, or what you've done with them?
yeah, they're part of a way of connecting as well, but not so in your face on the phone with people.
Sure.
But it's a way to expand into the infinite being that you are and create connections of all different kinds. There's pulling, there's flowing, there's lots of different ways to connect with people. And if you notice, like, the used car salesman kind of vibe, they push a lot. So with them, you're not going to want to push, you're going to want to pull from them. And that creates a connection. And other people are sort of on neutral, so you'll flow to them, fill them up. And so there's these different directions of energy flows, and also connecting with your business and asking your business to pull in the people who are looking for it. So you can do different things with energy to
Right.
create connection. And it's simply asking and choosing it. So I
Totally.
would do these different series. Sometimes they're 5 or 7 days, sometimes it's for a month. And I would just do these expanding exercises. And then, depending on what the theme was, just talk about a tool or a tip or something or whatever was going on.
Hmm.
And the one that you were looking at was one when I think I had a bunch of different travels during that month. I went to Europe for a class, and then I went to Costa Rica for a class. So I was doing it from the airport, I was doing it from the lobby of hotels, I was doing it, on lunch breaks. And it was really awesome because it's like when you're in different situations, not the perfect situation, when you want to create like peacefulness or something, maybe it's just about being peaceful, and you want to like sit and meditate in a cave. Well, that's great. It's easy
Okay.
to do it there, but how can you do that in an airport with lots of people and noise and stuff? And how can you do that, in places where there's time change? And how do you deal with all of that stuff and bring the peace and be the
Hmm.
peace? And so
Okay.
that's what I was playing with, and it was really fun. It was really fun.
And then you said this is something that you've recently implemented with your jewelry business?
Oh yeah. Well, every week in Facebook, I do a free expanding exercise and share a tip and a tool. But I've
Okay.
also been playing with my business and um, been pulling because it's just been really dead. Like retail has been flat for a long time. And I was getting to the point where that business was like really low on funds. And
Mm,
while I have savings and it's not really a problem, I don't like to use my savings for running my life and my business.
right.
So I was just really amping up that pull. I was like, okay, this needs to change. And on Saturday, I had all these people come in and buy gifts, and it was just crazy. Like I did more in that one day than I did the prior month in sales.
How's it getting better than this?
How does it? And that's the other thing, is not stopping it when you create it, like keep it going and keep it flowing. And yeah, so I feel like I've had a 6 month break from all of that, where I've been doing a lot of online classes and stuff, even from my store, but nobody's been coming in. And now it's like, okay, I'm ready for that too.
Right.
Oh.
That's very cool. Hmm. So what are some other ways that you've used energy pulls? Like, I know, and a lot of people use them for money. They're like, oh, use an energy pull for money and just pull money. Um, is that something that you've found? I mean, would you do something directly as money, or would you do it more generally speaking?
I've done it for everything. Like when I first learned about this stuff years ago, um, let's see, when I first found Access, the kids were 3 and 6. So it, within the first year, I started playing with this energy pull thing with somebody in my family, my married family, so an in-law, who was just not receiving me, wasn't kind, wouldn't speak to me, basically,
Okay.
in a family situation. And um, for a year, I just pulled energy from that person and sent a little trickle back. And after a year, I went to some family gathering thing, and that person came up to me and gave me a hug, said, I'm happy to see you. And I was just like, what? And they said, we want to take your kids for a weekend and give you guys a break. And I know my daughter was 8 at that point, so it took 2 years.
Wow.
But it worked. And
Yeah.
I was totally stunned because I didn't do anything else.
Right.
So who
Wow.
knows
Yeah.
what it will create? You can't have a specific outcome show up exactly the way you'd like,
Right.
but you can change things, and they always get better, put it that way. It's never the way you think, but
Yeah.
it's always better.
That's been one of the things that has been really interesting for me to look at is knowing the tools and having the tools and still looking at all the places where I've decided what I'd like to show up, where I have like a vested point of view in I'm using the tool so that this happens in a very linear kind of way. So even though it's a tool of possibility and question and expansion and energy, I'm still sometimes trying to like cram it into this like ABC linear
Yeah.
box of like, all right, I'm going to use this awesome tool to create this very specific result. And it just doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all. Like, it's crazy.
The thing is like we've been so habituated towards thinking and figuring out and being reasonable, rational, what's right, what's wrong. you know,
Yeah.
that we've mostly lost touch with our awareness and trusting ourselves. And that's what all these tools are building. It's building our muscle of awareness so that we can let go of the mind. We don't actually need the mind at all. When you're mindless, you're aware full. It's so funny how people want to be mindful, but that is the opposite. You want to be mindless and awareful.
There is an entire Facebook group for people here in Korea, and it's like the wellness community, and they're always talking about doing mindfulness exercises, and they're getting together for yoga and all this stuff, and like it feels really heavy. Like it just feels, and they're
Let's
like,
create a mindless
yeah,
Facebook group.
mindless.
Mindless, awarenessful.
Just even the idea of that, I still have this part of me that's just like, no, got to be in control. Got to like,
Yeah, that's the mind.
I know.
And honestly, doing the advanced talk to the entities class and the beings of light class really, really helped. Because you have to, you have to let go of your mind and relax down the barriers and trust and receive. And it's in this relaxation and not thinking that you get all this awareness.
Cool. Yeah.
And
it's
other
also,
people might think that you're being spacey and that that's bad.
right.
But
yeah. Well, you got to be
when I'm
serious.
good, I'm
Life
bad.
is serious.
And when I'm bad, I'm better.
Have you seen the movie Wreck-It Ralph?
No.
Oh, well, there's a really funny part. He goes to like the bad guy support group, and they have like this mantra, like, just because I'm a bad guy doesn't make me a bad guy. Like, it's, anyway, I'll have to find it for you. It's pretty funny. Yeah. So the other thing about this is also the idea, we talked about this, I think, the last time, about being out of control and how that has such a bad rap.
Weren't you
Like,
going to do a clearing loop for that?
I did. Oh,
Did you
did
put
I
it
just
in the
send it to
group?
you?
You should put it in the group.
I think I just sent it to Julie, and I was like, hey, Julie, I just made a loop. And you were like, nice. And then I just sat on it. So yes, the
Did
clearing
you
loop.
listen to it at all?
I have run it. Yes, I've run it before, several thousand
I have
times.
another tip for getting out of your head.
Okay. Besides taking the Beings of Light class, what's your other tip?
Well, for men, leave
Oh,
the big head, go to the little head, because you can't be in your mind there. Or can you?
well, can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that? Are you talking about like those 5 minutes post orgasm when you're just kind of like, I don't know, what are you talking about?
Well, when you put your attention there, don't you pretty much lose thought?
Well, it can, yeah. But I
So
don't.
that's what I mean. Put your attention
Sure.
there. Like supposedly that's a bad thing again, not to have your energy and attention down there, folks.
Right.
But why is that so bad? Could it be a place of potency, perhaps? You know,
Potentially.
potentially.
Huh. And you're saying this doesn't work that way for women?
No, of course it does. Yeah. So just have more sex and be mindless.
Yeah. Yeah. That is actually, yeah, that is a good point. Is that, um,
Somebody wrote in the group, The crazy
was,
phrase works. So for
yes, the
anybody who
crazy phrase
doesn't
is
know what
good.
the crazy phrase is, why don't
Yes.
you share it?
Oh, I'm going to share it. Uh, Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And it has to be that way. Apparently, some
What?
people
Say
were.
that again.
So, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. That's it,
And you
right?
can say that again and again
Yes.
and again, and all of a sudden you can't think anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, a couple years ago, there were some people who had mixed it up, or they were saying something a little bit different. I don't
Everything
remember.
is not as it seems, they say.
Oh, no,
Like,
no, 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 no.
why can't you repeat it exactly the way it is? Don't change
It's
it.
not that hard. Yeah, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, which is a really kind of a mind fuck, because the first part of it and the second part of it directly contradict each other. Like, yeah, because I can wrap my head around the first part, which is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Like, yeah, all right, I can see that. Or I can also say the second part is like, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to
You're
be.
trying to figure it out.
I know. That's what I'm
And
saying. And it doesn't
here's,
work. It doesn't work.
no, it doesn't. And I can't remember the post that I posted something that Gary said when you're thinking about a problem,
Mm-hmm.
you're creating it. You're not aware
Oh,
of it.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, how, like, are you starting to catch yourself thinking about stuff, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, instead of like, whoa, wait, where would I like to put my energy? What would I like to create? It's that
Actually,
powerful.
well, something that I've noticed, especially in the recent week or two, is people who watch the news a lot and they read headlines a lot, they're thinking about those things,
Uh-huh.
and it creates those things in their lives and for them.
Yeah.
And I don't have that going on because I just kind of ignore most of that. So
Yep.
I'm creating an entirely different reality that doesn't match with everyone else's, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting what happens. Like right now, we have fires again in Northern California, and you can listen to the news and put your energy into, oh my God, that's so awful, devastation, and you're actually adding fuel to the fire. Whereas if you were like, wow, what else is possible? What would it take for rain? And to actually choose to be happy regardless.
Right.
And I know that some people would think, well, you're an idiot and you don't care or something like
Yeah.
that. But what if it's actually contributing more by being happy and
Yeah.
asking for something else to show up?
And what's right about this that I'm not getting? That question of just looking at, instead of look or deciding what's wrong about it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So,
I know.
gotta stop using my head like
It's
that.
it's a really interesting thing that's going on here. And I know over the weekend everybody's like, "Oh, it's hot. It's fire season. There's going to be more fires. Let's hope it's not terrible." And it's like, "Oh my God. What if what if instead we didn't dwell on that? We used awareness, yes, but I don't know. Like what
Not
else
allowed to
is
say
really
that, Julie.
possible?" Hmm?
You're not allowed to say that. Can't say I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like
Oh, it's
you.
10 o'clock. Oh my
I know.
goodness.
I just saw that. You have your other thing now. Um, well, nice to see you again.
Yeah. I hope this wasn't a downer
That
for
went by.
people who are like really
Oh,
calm.
Like, go consciousness. Woo, 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 woo. Is that what we should be doing?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
We
So
need
I
some
will,
feedback. We need some questions.
I'll post that that loop. Just a
Okay.
quick question. How long do you think people would like loops to be? Like, I know you can just put it on repeat on your phone, but like generally speaking, what would be a good length? Like 5 minutes?
That's
10
probably too
minutes?
long.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Um, I don't know. Like you can even just, if you're saying that clearing, you can do it once or maybe do it
Right.
3 times. I don't know. I would just ask when you're making it.
Okay. Cool. Got it.
How many times should I repeat this for this purpose?
Okie dokie. Well, thank you. And
Yeah,
I will see you again next week, and it's going to feel like longer than a week probably again.
probably. Oh, wait. I think I have something next week. No, we're good to go. In 2 weeks, I think I'm doing, no, we're good. I have some
Awesome.
other classes coming up, so it's like the class is either going to include coffee talk or
Sure.
I'll have to postpone it a half an hour.
Well, it might be kind of fun to like warm everybody up, get them
Have
on,
coffee
and just
talk
like have a
as
kick.
part of the class. Yeah,
Sure. That sounds good.
I
Anyway, let
think
me
so
know.
too.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, enjoy your Monday, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Be
Bye
mindless.
bye. Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.